Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Bloggers Creating Courses. I'm switching things up ever so slightly this week and it is just me. I'm doing a solo episode, which is really exciting because I've had some amazing guests on the podcast over the last several months now, which is brilliant. And thank you to all of those guests who have come on the show. And obviously thank you to all of you lovely listeners as well for listening and for sticking with me. Before we get going with today's episode, I just want to give a shout out to Samantha J. King from Canada, who has left me a wonderful review on Apple Podcasts. She said, "I love how Verity is talking about all the elements of having a sold out online course. Too often this industry only wants to talk about creating the course. However, Verity and the experts she includes in her lineup aren't shying away from the hard topics, like how to sell your course and get it into the hands of the students who need it. Because if you can't sell it, then how are you going to have the impact you are here to make? Thank you, Verity, for giving us a space to look at the whole picture, creating, hosting and selling, and bringing together the experts to share the behind the scenes hows we need to reach our goals." Samantha, that comment meant so much to me because this is exactly what I'm trying to do with the podcast, is delve into the topics which either aren't spoken about enough, in my opinion, about the online course industry and the solopreneur industry, and actually shine a light on these topics that everybody's got a question about but nobody seems to be talking about. So your comment I love, because it means that we are hitting what we need to be hitting. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. For those of you who have been sticking around on my social media, you will have seen that the Course Creator Mastermind has got its doors open. It is due to start on the 12th of September and we do still have a few spots left. So if you are somebody who wants to create an online course and you cannot imagine how you are going to get there, you are completely overwhelmed with the idea of how to teach online, how to create an online course, where you need to be going with your planning and with your course curriculum, check out the Course Creator Mastermind. The link is in the show notes below. It's veritysongon.com/mastermind. This is a 12-week program where I am going to work with you in a group coaching session and take you through creating an online course from start to finish. Imagine that idea that you have got in your mind at the moment that you want to turn into an online course. From the 12th of September, we will make a start, and 12 weeks later, imagine what that's going to feel. At 12 weeks later, before Christmas, you will have your online course created, ready to sell, and enrolling your first students as well. If you're interested in that program, veritysongon.com/mastermind. As I said, I do still have a few spots left. And now let's jump into the show. Welcome to Bloggers Creating Courses, the podcast which will take you behind the scenes of creating an online course. I'm your host, Verity Songon, founder and education consultant of veritysongon.com. I'm so excited to help you create an online course that you are proud of and to be part of your journey to scale your business as an online course creator. Let's get into the episode. So what I wanted to talk about today is growing on Instagram, which I'm sure some people are already thinking to themselves, Verity, you're not a social media coach, you're not a social media expert, and I completely agree with you. I am not. However, the reason why I wanted to share this information with you is because I was, at the beginning of the year, a complete Instagram novice. I didn't even have an Instagram account, which it seems a bit strange to get to 2022 and not have an Instagram account, but I didn't have an Instagram account when I first set up my business. I decided to set up an Instagram account because I thought that's where a lot of my potential audience is going to be. And because we know that Instagram is a great place for marketing itself or yourself. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, Instagram, it's all about reels, which is all people made doing silly dances, and they're just trying to compete with TikTok. Instagram is dead. Instagram is not dead. It has got billions of users around the world. And to try and just get a few people or a few clients or a few students out of those few billion accounts, yeah, I'm going to have a go at taking a slice of that pie. But starting out on Instagram is not easy. And I wanted to share these tips because I wanted to give people a realistic view about setting up and creating an organic following on Instagram in 2022, because that's the important thing, is that this is about organic followers. I haven't paid for followers. I haven't done pods or follow for follow or follow on follow and all that kind of jazz. And we'll jump into what that means a little bit later. But one of the things that I think people need to remember about Instagram is, as I said, there is so much potential for people to grow and get clients and get students on Instagram. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is not all about silly dances and following trends and mouthing lyrics and what have you. One of the biggest things about Instagram is providing value, but I'll jump into that in a bit. The first thing I want to talk about is setting up your profile. One of the things you need to consider, or two of the things that you need to consider when creating your profile, are your image and also your bio. So for your image, make sure it says something about you. I would refrain from using logos because people don't relate to logos. People relate to people. So if you have a logo that you're sitting behind, yes, that might work for some businesses and some companies. But if you're a solopreneur, if you're an online, if you're a coach, if you have an online course, people want to know who they're buying from. So have a picture of you and make sure it fits your branding as well. So is it the same image that you're using on your website? Is it the same image you're using on your other social media? Because what you don't want is somebody to find you on LinkedIn and then go to Instagram. It's a completely different picture and people are wondering if you're actually the same person, if you're a copycat account or what have you. So make sure that your picture fits the message and the branding that you are wanting to get across. And the next thing is use your bio effectively. And I see a lot of people not doing this. Now, I'm not saying that I've hit the magic secret sauce for getting the bio absolutely correct. But over the last 8 months or so, I have changed my bio several times for a couple of reasons. Firstly, as I have learned more, I have learned from some fantastic people. I'm going to actually link It's Modern Millie's account down in the show notes for Millie Adrian, who is an influencer coach. And even though I'm not an influencer and I'd never claim to be an influencer because I don't want to take away from that career path that other people take, but Millie shares amazing advice for growing on Instagram, which is really suitable for any niche and any business there. But as I've learned more from people like her, I've changed my bio, but I've also changed it just to experiment with different things to see what attracted more people to my website, to my links and what have you. But your bio is your biggest real estate, in my opinion, on your Instagram page. So make sure that you explain on there exactly what you can do for anybody visiting your page. Remember, your bio sounds a little bit strange because it is a bio, but it's not about you. It's about what you can do for the person viewing your profile at that moment in time. So explain exactly what it is that you offer. You don't have many characters, so you want to condense this as much as possible, but have a bio which explains exactly what you can do for the person visiting your Instagram profile, and have a link in there as well. It can be a link to your website. It could be just to sign up to my newsletter. It could be for a freebie. It could be for an opt-in. It doesn't really matter what it is in some ways, as long as you've got, but it's real estate basically. So make sure that you are sending people somewhere that is going to benefit your business and also them. So if you're trying to build up your email list, send them to your freebie or your opt-in, or if you don't have a freebie or an opt-in yet, just have them go to a landing page where you can collect their email address in return for being on your newsletter later along. Send them to your homepage. Give people a reason though. Explain, just, click here for my sign up, click here for my newsletter, click here for my coaching services, and just send them to a web page, because as I said, that is real estate right there that you don't want to miss out on. So those would be my first things. Make sure that your profile picture and your bio are properly aligned. Also for your username, make sure your username includes keywords that people are going to be searching. So again, I've changed this up over the last 8 months, and you can change your username, but you can only do it once every 14 days. So that is just something to bear in mind. But I've changed it as I've gone along. I originally had education consultant. I realized nobody was searching for education consultant, so I've changed it to online course coach. That seems to be working a bit better for me. I am going to be working and branching into small business coaching specifically for mums later in the year as well. So again, I'm going to somehow integrate that into my username, because that's what's going to pop up on search as well when people type in things like small business coach or online course coach, online course creator. So just think about including those bits in your username as well, or in your bio, depending on how it fits and how it works for you. The next thing that I want to talk about for Instagram is posting content. And there's two things here when it comes to posting content. It's about posting content consistently, but also content which is of value. Now, I want to break those down, because when I say consistently, I've experimented with a few different things, and I have found that posting images and just kind of flat content, so images, carousels, they work, they're really good for engagement, but I don't get anywhere posting every single day. In fact, it just kind of annoys me and burns me out whilst I'm trying to think of all these content ideas. What I find is even just posting 3 times a week is absolutely fine for pictures, for carousels, for things like that. It really is fine. You don't need to be posting multiple times a day. But what you do need to be doing is making sure that you post content with value. And what I mean by that is giving your audience something. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, but that's behind my paywall. I don't want to be giving information for free. And no, you probably don't. But how is anybody going to know what you're about and what message you've got until you start telling them something? When it comes to reels, I was initially incredibly skeptical of doing reels, because I thought, oh my God, it's all about dancers and I need to be silly and stupid. But actually, the more that I've dived into it, and yes, if you go on my Instagram, you will see some reels that I've done where I'm dancing and doing strange pointy things and what have you. But what I have found is actually my reels that do better are the ones where I am talking to the camera and I'm delivering valuable information. I did one actually just yesterday, and there's no trending music to it. There's no dancing. There's no me pointing around the screen. There's literally nothing. It is me sitting down, and I give, I think, about 26 seconds worth of information about something in my niche to do with online courses. And in 24 hours, it got just under 3,000 views. And like I said, I'm not doing anything special in it apart from giving content and value. And I say it got 3,000 views. I've only got 270 odd followers at the moment. So the point is that I really have got a bigger reach with reels. Instagram, we know, is really pushing reels at the moment. It is trying to compete with TikTok and YouTube Shorts in that respect. And what I have done is really mapped out a content strategy for Instagram reels. So I am actually trying something at the moment where I post a reel a day for 30 days, and I'm interested to see where that goes. But every time I post a reel at the moment, I am getting new followers, new people are interested in my profile and coming to my profile. And I think that's important as well, is to differentiate between the different types of content you put on Instagram. So you've got stories, you've got reels, and you have got posts. Your posts and your reels are really for attracting a new audience. Your stories are for telling your current audience what's going on and keeping them up to date. Remember that your stories will only stay live for 24 hours. But essentially, if you're a coach, if you're an online course, yes, you can sell through your reels and your posts. Yes, you can be explaining what you do, but primarily what you want to be doing is keeping a lot of the selling for your stories, because that's where people are who are already following you are really, really interested in what you've got there. If you're wondering how you can create interesting stories and interesting posts, carousels, if you look at my Instagram, I make all of those in Canva. I'll link Canva down below. There is a pro version of it. You don't need pro. There is absolutely loads that you can get by on the free plan. I actually used the free version of Canva for about 3 years before I upgraded to the pro version. I love the pro version though, I have to say. It has got lots of extra features, but anyway, that's a conversation for a different day. I will also link below the interview that I did with Brenda Cadman, who is a globally certified Canva expert, and we did an amazing podcast episode with her a few episodes ago. So if you're interested in Canva, I would highly recommend listening to that episode, because there's an awful lot of amazing tips and tricks in that to help you not look as amateurish when you were first starting out on Canva. But anyway, that aside, let's get back to Instagram. A lot of people wonder how they can increase their Instagram followers. And there's a couple of things that I want to tackle here. Is first of all, more followers does not mean more sales and does not mean more clients. You can have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers on Instagram and nobody is buying from you. Equally, you could have 200 followers on Instagram who are engaged with you and buy your products. And that's when you need to start thinking to yourself, would you rather have 10,000 followers where no one's engaging and no one's buying into what you're selling? Or would you rather have 200 people following you and at least 100 of them, well, actually 100's a bit high, but a percentage of them are engaging with you and wanting to buy from you? That's what you need to be asking yourself. So it's not always about the high counts there. The other thing with gaining followers is you need to remember that in 2022, it just takes time. Absolutely gone are the days when you would do this whole follow for follow thing. I mean, I know that some people do follow for follow, which is where, you follow a load of accounts and then you unfollow people. So then your follower count is higher than your followers. Oh, it's all just like, it's ridiculous. Basically, it's 2022, people. Don't just follow people for follows and then unfollow people once they follow you back. It's a mess and it doesn't work. And most of the time when you're doing follow for follow, you just end up with people who are following you because they want you following them, but neither of you are interested in the other one's service or product. It's just ridiculous. The best advice that I ever heard from somebody is an Instagram manager, actually, is don't follow someone back just because they followed you. It's your Instagram feed. Follow who you want to follow. I just thought that was the best advice ever. So my Instagram feed is only made up of people who I want to follow. If someone follows me and I genuinely like their feed, I will follow them back, and if I like their content and what I can learn from them. But if I'm not interested in following them back, I won't, because life's too short. Your Instagram feed is too short. I don't want it clogged up with all sorts of stuff that I'm just not interested in. So, and exactly the same as how I follow people, I don't expect them to follow me back. It just is what it is. The other thing that people engage with less and less so, and I would really not encourage you to do this, is follow pods. So people, again, you join the pod, people then follow each other. You put you create a post and you put it in the pod, and then everybody likes it and shares it. Again, the problem with this is that you're not necessarily getting to your right audience. So I just wouldn't bother with follow pods in 2022 and going forward. What I would encourage you to do, and what I have found has helped a lot, is play around with hashtags. Now, the recommendation from Instagram is to use around 3 to 5 hashtags per post, which are relevant to your niche and relevant to your post. However, this is not a hard and fast rule. There are some people out there who find that they can use about 20, 30 hashtags, and I'm afraid that I fall into that category. And at the moment, using a shed ton of hashtags is actually working for me and my strategy. However, I have spent 8 months now researching those hashtags because I started right from the beginning, and I have had so many different combinations, and I'm continuing to play around with the combinations for my hashtags to see what works best. And I don't use all of them for every single post. So what you'll notice is that when I post content about online courses, it's slightly different to when I post content which is more business orientated or more reflecting my personality and work with me content. So I don't use every single hashtag every single time, but I've spent at least 8 months playing with different combinations of hashtags, seeing what works, what doesn't, and don't always go for the high ones as well. So if I'm putting up a post about my online course coaching, I will not use the hashtag coaching, because it will have probably billions of pieces of content related to it. I'm going to get lost in that. And you might be thinking, yeah, but don't you want billions of people to see it? Billions of people won't see it, because as I said, it will just get lost in that dark void. But if I go for something like hashtag online course coaching UK, online course coaches, for example, I wouldn't use all three, I'm just giving you examples here. But what's going to happen is, because they are smaller hashtags, they've got smaller amount of posts attached to them. If somebody searches that hashtag, they're more likely to see your content. But as I said, it's about playing around and seeing what works for you, and looking at people in your niche as well, seeing what other people in your niche and in your line of business, what hashtags are they using, and see what happens. But conversely, on that point, what some people find is that using hashtags makes no difference to their social media strategy whatsoever. And some people find that actually not using hashtags works for them, and they still get a really, really good reach, because social media bots, AI, they're intelligent these days. Well, they've always been intelligent, but they're intelligent these days. They can read your captions, they can pick out the keywords and the search engine optimization keywords from your caption. So what some people have found is, as long as they write a really, really good caption for their reel and for their post, they do not need to put in hashtags, because their caption is already optimized for search engine optimization. There are already keywords in there which the algorithm is going to recognize and is going to push out to people. Now, I am obviously not an SEO specialist. I'm obviously not a social media manager specialist. I'm just trying to explain what has worked for me, what I have found in my experience over the last 8 months of having my Instagram account, and also hopefully what might work for you as well. So what I'd like to convey for my key takeaways for this episode, if you have got an Instagram account, or even if you don't have an Instagram account, I would like you to go away, have a look at your social media, have a look at your profile picture, make sure that it aligns with your brand and your other social media accounts if you have any. I would also like you to go away and have a look at your bio. Make sure that you explain what your bio can give to anybody coming and visiting your profile. Have a link to your website, a link to your opt-in, a freebie. It doesn't matter what it is, just make sure that there is a link there. And also have a social media strategy. Research your hashtags. Make sure that your descriptions are aligned to your brand, and have a strategy. Don't just post everything everywhere. So those are my key takeaways. I hope you found this episode useful. Check out the links in the description box below, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Bloggers Creating Courses. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, leave a rating and a review. Ratings and reviews help us to reach more people who want to build and scale their online course, so you're really helping to widen the support for our blogging community. To catch all of the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram @VeritySongon. I'll see you next time. Happy content creating.